So, y'all should know by now, I love talking about the birth rate and the global implications of the birth rate decline. We're now going to talk about Germany. Germany's aging population is dragging on its economy. All of Europe will soon be affected, and it's only going to get worse. Before we go further into the article, I just want to point out that Germany's current birth rate is 1.36. That is obviously well below the replacement rate. Just to compare, America's birth rate is currently at about 1.61, and the European Union birth rate is currently about 1.68. Okay, let's get back into the article. Germany's economy has struggled lately with weak demand and high energy costs blunting growth. But its greatest long term challenge is likely from a demographic crisis that began decades ago. Like most developed societies, Germany's population is getting older, which means relatively more retired people and fewer workers, a combination that threatens economic growth and public finances. The impact is mild for now, but as the IMF, or International Monetary Fund, warned in a report on Wednesday, population aging could cause significant pain in a few years down the line. What's new? Nothing. Policymakers have known for decades that Germany's demographics would increase its dependency ratio, the number of non workers per worker. It's just that now it's starting to have an effect. Though innocuous sounding, the dependency ratio is a vitally important economic measure. All other things being equal, the fewer workers there are relative to the rest of the population, the higher the tax burden on each person who does work, and the lower per capita output. The IMF predicts that Germany's annual working age population growth rate will fall by 0.7% over the medium term. It didn't define that time frame, but it typically means single figure years in economics, more than any other G7 country, as baby boomers start retiring and the inflow of immigrants eases. An aging population will adversely affect public finances as tax revenue growth slows and spending on pensions and healthcare rises, the organization said in its report. Take Greece, for instance. It has the lowest fertility rates on the continent, registering the fewest births in 92 years in 2022. Italy and Finland also have birth rates well below the replacement level, meaning that each new generation is smaller than the ones that went before. Germany is due to feel the decline more acutely in coming years because on its ongoing difficulties with labor shortages. Its economy is already struggling with the effects of cutting itself off of Russian energy while coping with high interest rates. That's on top of other problems that could hurt its long term competitiveness, including structural barriers like underinvestment and red tape. To be sure, some economic forces are working in Germany's favor. Inflation has shown signs of cooling, and the country's unemployment rate is under control compared to some of its neighbors. But the drag from the aging population will only get stronger as time passes. Can anything be done? The most obvious way to change this fate, or at least significantly delay it, is through large scale immigration. The UK has taken this approach, for example, with record net immigration in recent years. One key measure of long term success or less relative decline is your ability to attract migrants and to incorporate them into the labor force. Jens Eisenschmidt, Morgan Stanley's chief Europe economist, told Fortune earlier this month. But that approach is creating political tensions with far right parties that typically oppose immigration growing in popularity in various European countries. An alternative is to tap into the parts of the German population that could join the workforce, such as encouraging more women to take on full time jobs. That could mean incentivizing them if they're caregivers by offering more childcare support. Changes to the current pension system could also help the government account for higher spending obligations on its aging population. Another strategy is to lean into technology. Germany already has a plan to supercharge the use of robots and AI in job functions that face a talent shortage or that can be supported by digitization. In reality, an aging workforce is too formidable a challenge to be fixed by a single measure or even a handful of them. Instead, governments and businesses will likely need to adapt it, which, appropriately enough, for an issue like old age, will require some long term thinking. Now, Germany is aging, America is aging, many Asian countries are aging, and their birth rates are all plummeting. And many of these countries are highly patriarchal and do not look favorably on immigrants. So many of the solutions would be to stop being so antagonistic towards immigrants and listen to women and to why many of them are opting out of having babies. Many of these solutions are right there in their faces, right there. Will they listen? Absolutely not, because that would mean that they would have to course correct. I don't know if childcare is an issue in Germany, but if they're anything like the United States and they don't offer things that make things more appealing to women to actually have babies, they're going to continue this downward spiral because actually they're having even less babies than in America. So, America, y'all need to be watching what is going on in these countries because they are just like a couple of years ahead of us. And the way things are going here in America, many women here are going to continue to either be one and done or opt to be child free altogether because childcare is either expensive or non existent. These states are antagonistic towards women and our reproductive rights, and it's just going to continue to be a cluster F of major proportions. All right, so let me know if you are in Germany or in Europe. What do you think about what's going on? What are you seeing on the home front? Jump in the comments, give me some insight that I might not be seeing. And if you are anywhere else in America or globally, let me know what you're seeing as far as the birth rate and where do you think this is all going. Jump in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I was sent this Daily Beast article. It says GOP Senate candidate spent thousands in donor funds on strip clubs, luxury, and mystery wire transfers. Now, the Daily Beast article was behind a paywall, but somebody else posted it. I'm sorry, somebody else wrote about it. So this one is from the Rolling Stone. And a lot of times the Rolling Stone is behind a paywall, but Yahoo picked it up and brought it over. GOP candidate spent campaign money on strip club. That was the report. So let's look at this. NBA player turned Alex Jones protege, Royce White, wants to be Minnesota's next U.S. Senator and got a major boost this week when the state GOP endorsed him. And while Republicans are not shy about propping up conspiracy theorists, extremists, and grifters, the self styled party of fiscal responsibility and family values may want to take a closer look at White's campaign finance disclosures. According to a new report from the Daily Beast, White's FEC disclosures from a failed 2022 bid to unseat Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, are riddled with highly questionable and likely unlawful campaign expenditures. Strip clubs, limousines, nightclubs, hefty unexplained wire transfers, cash withdrawals, luxury hotels, expensive restaurants, clothing, sporting goods, and private car services are all listed as expenses after White had officially lost the 2022 Republican primary. The total amount of questionable expenses surpasses $100,000. On August 25th, 2022, several days after his campaign loss, White and others racked up a tab of over $1,200 at the Gold Rush Cabaret, a strip club in Miami, Florida, almost 2,000 miles away from Minnesota. In a statement to the Daily Beast, White claimed that the lavish spending at the Gold Rush was campaign related, as he had recorded a podcast in Miami and that he simply likes the food there. Rough calculations done by the Daily Beast based on Gold Rush's menu suggest that those present would have to have ordered 48 of the establishment's 25 appetizer platters in order to have spent $1,200. White's campaign also spent $3,200 at the Guitar Center, $2,500 at Dick's Sporting Goods, $700 at Sally Beauty Supply. He doesn't have any hair. How is he spending that much money at Sally's? and made purchases at a wide variety of clothing stores, including Lululemon, Cavender's Western Wear, Crocs, Nike, and Nordstrom. The Daily Beast also found that many of the out of state purchases made by White's campaign coincided with touring dates for Ice Cube's Big Three, 3-on-3 basketball league, with major expenditures in Chicago, Dallas, Tampa, and Atlanta. As experts interviewed by the Daily Beast pointed out, White's spending on his 2022 campaign likely violates campaign finance law. There are plenty of other reasons the former NBA player is unfit to hold elected office. White is a regular guest and even substitute host on The Alex Jones Show and has used his growing presence on the fringe right to espouse a myriad of conspiracy theories and anti Semitic dribble. Following his endorsement last week by the Minnesota GOP, White thanked Jones and InfoWars directly, saying on his own podcast that a lot of InfoWar fans in the Republican Party delegation were there on Saturday at the convention. At the convention, White was introduced to the audience by former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. In the fall of 2022, White defended rapper Kanye West after the musician made a series of anti Semitic remarks. White accused Jews of leveraging the tragedy of the Holocaust to provide a victimhood cover for their own corrupt practices. There is a group of Jewish elite that tends to be secular in belief and corrupt in political practice, White wrote in a 2022 tweet. White is also an avid conspiratorial reactionary who has pushed baseless claims about anti Trump fraud in the 2020 election, the attack against House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, and more. He also claimed that advanced weapons were behind the devastating 2023 fires in Maui. Despite styling himself as an anti-Smorgasbord hardliner, White has also been accused of offering several women tens of thousands of dollars in order to obtain promotions. It seems like he fits in perfectly with the Republican Party. He is a hypocrite. He is an overspender. He is cheating. There's literally nothing that makes him an outlier in the Republican Party, and I can understand why the GOP has rubber stamped him. While much of this would be immediately disqualifying for any political candidate, it's clear that the MAGA Republican Party has been wholeheartedly captured by the most vitriolic fringes of thought. He fits perfectly, and y'all just need to see this. People in Minnesota, I hope that y'all don't vote for this person because, yeah, he's out here just spending money willy-nilly, and I don't know what to say about this. This is wild. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So I had a series of videos that I was doing called the Celebrity Dusty Dads, and Brad Pitt was one of them. So one of my mutuals came on this morning and said there have been 3 kids that have publicly denounced Brad as their father. What is going on with Brad Pitt in his personal life that 3 of his kids are doing all of this? So this most current story, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter Shiloh files to drop Pitt from her last name. Shiloh Jolie-Pitt, the 18-year-old daughter of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, wants to change her name. According to 2 sources familiar with the matter, the estranged couple's daughter filed legal paperwork on her 18th birthday earlier this week to drop Pitt from her last name. Sources say that she now wants to go by Shiloh Jolie. NBC News has not reviewed the petition. A source close to the matter said she hired and paid for her own lawyer. Representatives for Pitt and Jolie did not respond to requests for comment. This is not the first of the couple's children to drop the Pitt surname. Zahara Marley Jolie did so, at least publicly, in 2022. If y'all remember this story, Angelina Jolie's daughter, not hers and Brad Pitt's daughter, Zahara, just joined AKA sorority at Spelman. The happy mother and daughter. It wasn't as if it wasn't heartwarming enough to see Zahara Jolie choose Spelman College as her school of choice in 2022 with full support of her mom, actress Angelina Jolie. She's gone ahead and taken things up a notch to our glee by joining a Divine Nine organization in her sophomore year. The 18-year-old crossed AKA recently, and there's footage of her being presented on the ATL campus. Zahara emphatically let everyone present know she's Zahara Marley Jolie. It seems she's dropped the Pitt, Hailing from LA, she flipped her hair as everyone in the crowd cheered on. Here she is flipping her hair and crossing. Y'all remember last year when this came out about their son Pax calling his father a world class a hole and a despicable person who makes his four youngest children tremble in fear in an explosive Instagram rant. I don't know if you guys remember this. So apparently, this story came out last year, but he did this Instagram post back in 2020 on Father's Day. Pack says, "You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday." He then sarcastically added, "So happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being." Angelina Jolie adopted Pax from an orphanage in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam in 2007. He was 3 years old and had been dumped as a newborn by his heroin addicted biological mother. Brad formally adopted him the following year. Okay, back to the Shiloh news. This news comes amid the famous couple's ongoing divorce battle. The couple, who shares 6 children together, split in 2016 after Jolie accused Pitt of choking one of their children during a volatile transatlantic flight in 2016. Jolie filed for divorce following the incident. NBC News obtained the FBI report of the incident in 2022 following a Freedom of Information Act, Privacy Act lawsuit brought by Jane Doe. Following the alleged incident, Pitt was investigated by LA County Department of Child and Family Services. NBC News has previously reported that Pitt was cleared of any wrongdoing and criminal charges. Criminal charges were never brought against the actor. Since 2016, the exes have been in a legal battle over their winery, Chateau Miraval, located in the south of France. Pitt sued Jolie, accusing her of improperly having sold her half of the winery to Russian oligarch Yuri Shefler. Miraval was the site of their wedding in 2014. Although the couple's divorce is still ongoing, in 2019 they were granted a bifurcated judgment, meaning they are legally single. So, more news on Brad Pitt. I really wonder what it is about this man that has 3 of his kids saying, I'm good. I'm good on Brad Pitt. Y'all go ahead and watch his movies. He's not for me. What is it about this man? Y'all jump into the comments because I really don't know. Like, comment, and share.